welcome to part 3 of this Vox AC30, and this is the part that I am dreading the most. This preamp stage is in a bit of a state. The Vibratrem channel does not work, and the normal channel seems to work fine. The Brilliant channel seems to work-ish. Seems to be lacking some volume. And to say that someone's been in here is an understatement. Yep, this is bad, looking at it. So let's just try and we've got a capacitor here where somebody's gone lent the soldering iron on it and burnt that right through. You see the aluminium, whatever it is, the aluminium casing that it's under the plastic there. So that's I think, you know, the more I look in here, this wire here is burnt severely with a soldering iron. So if we work away along here, you can see that it's had various resistors change, and these half watts keep popping up every now and again. They've no place being in here. Another half watt there, some more half watts there. These capacitors are just botched on any old how. There's too much wire on them. Sorry, you can see there too much wire on them. They're just any old how. They're not tidy. This capacitor here has been botched on. That's a right mess, and it just goes on and on really, and it just gets worse the more you look. So basically this is a shit fest, and we are going to put this right. And the reason we're going to put this right is because this is a classic amp and it deserves to be put right. It's rather large. Have you seen the size of that switch there? That's the main switch. That's humongous. That can't be original to this amp. Can't be, surely. That is massive. So there's the voltage selector over there, and that's been disconnected, but they left the plug in the top. So if you're going to disconnect one of those, take the plug out of the top, and it avoids any confusion. As soon as you see the amps running without the plug in, then you know it's been hardwired. So that's a bit of an assessment. I've had a little test round on that Vibra channel, and there's some leaking coupling caps as well and so on, so I've got to remove those. But this is going to take some sorting out and tidying up, and I'm wondering which way to go about this. Whether to just go through it and just replace some of these capacitors here. So quite a few of these are leaky, so I'm wondering whether to just go through this and recap it, and while I'm going through, just tidy up this mess here, and just try and make it a lot tidier. And obviously as we go through the components and we change things, I then run it up and then see if that Vibra channel's returned, and then if not, we're going to have to do some tracing to find out where that channel's, you know, where it's breaking down. More than likely some of these components on here that's been put in, you can bet they're either wrong values or they've been put in wrong. There'll be something on here that's a mistake that's stopping that channel working, and it's a matter of finding it. I don't know if there's any parts missing out of here, wrong values, you know, such as somebody's put a 220k instead of a 22k, something like that. For example, there could be a number of reasons, but whatever it is, this thing is a mess. And the words I've got for the person that's done it, I can't repeat them on here because I am just seething. Not because I've got to sort it all out, because I enjoy working on them. It's just the thought that somebody's been in here and done this. This amp was made in 1963. It's a classic amp, and I'm afraid it's had a classic twat inside it, and they have made a right mess. So we're going to get on. Enough of me ranting, because I am very mad, but enough of me ranting. We're going to get on and make a start of this. And this wire here has not even been connected. So, where does that go? Now, the tone control doesn't work on this amp, which is there. We just hone in. The tone control there does not work. So these two wires come onto this board here to around this area, to that capacitor there. No, sorry, that capacitor there. Him. And then we've got this wire. So is this why the tone control doesn't work on here, on this wire being off? I don't know. Right, we've done some work on this preamp section, and found some out of tolerance resistors. We've removed some of those half watts that they had on these boards, because they've new place being there, and there is some more there which we need to look at. That shitfest there along with that. And we've been testing some of these capacitors. Fair few of them are leaky. And check out these screws. And now looking at them screws, I'm thinking they don't look original to me, but they actually are. They're like countersunk, but the obviously that. In fact, let's just go back to this side. There we go. There's one. They just look like they've been botched in. They're all loose underneath. I've got to tighten the stanchions up underneath. But they are the original screws. I've had a look on the internet at a few chassis, and they appear to be the original screws. I was just about on the point of taking those out. And over there on that board, I don't know how close we can get in. That is also an original screw, although it looks like it's had a bit of Beppo with the screwdriver. So yes, we are making some progress with this. Some of the resistors are miles out, so there's 3 there that weren't too bad, so I've left those, and we've got just working his way up. So that's why there's a 47 nanofarad cap to go over that 47 gay resistor there, and I haven't put it on yet. And also I'd actually soldered these in, and I had a feeling I'm going to have to unsolder those and change that screw, but I'm suddenly not. I kind of started looking at them and thinking they don't look right, but they are the original. So I've got a cap 47 to go over there, and I was just checking that to make sure against the schematic to make sure that was correct, and it is 47 nanofarad. So yeah, I'm actually using a layout for this, because the schematic is dead hard to read. The one I've got, I can't find any more online, and I don't like using layouts as a rule, but given the way this is laid out, it's actually working out. So I normally don't bother with layouts, I'll use schematics. But so these two, I did say I weren't sure whether they were both 8 microfarad. They actually are, and it's normally a 2-in-1 capacitor, a can cap. But those, apart from the tie wraps, which I don't like to see in vintage amps, but they've actually been done pretty well. So I think I'm going to leave those, because they're good quality. The sprays, they've not been in long, and whoever's done that has made a good job of those, as opposed to whoever's, I don't think the same person's done this work on the board who put those caps in, because they've gone to town on those and done them properly. Right, we've done a bit more to this Vox AC30, and yes, it's I found some very interesting things in this amplifier. So I've done some repairs up to here, and we're now waiting for a few parts just to finish this off from resistors that are high in value. One being that 3.9k there, we're honing. Find something a bit suitable to point with rather than my finger. So there, him there, so we're waiting for him, and then we've carried on across here. We've got a capacitor for that, but we're waiting for this 750k resistor to come in. Due to the postal strike that we've had here in the UK, Friday and Saturday, we've not received any of my stuff. The postman came this morning but brought everything but what I want for this amp. These 250k's here, these test fine, but he's burnt the guy that was in before. He's clipped them with the soldering iron, not much, but I want this perfect, and I don't want anybody thinking I've clipped them with soldering iron. Clip doos. So now let's moving on to the back board. Oh, another thing I've also done is I've started cleaning off some of the flux between these terminals, because they're close together, and you've soldered these, you really need to clean between them, get any flux out, and also eventually work my way across that. Let's move on to this. Check out this wire here. So where it's had a large blast of the soldering iron, I'm afraid. How on earth they did that? These resistors are high in value, they'll need to be changed, at least one of them is. So I've actually taken this out anyway, because I need to get down into the back there, and one of the reasons is somebody's put a pesky half watt resistor down in the back of there, so he needs to come out. And this cap needs changing here, because these have been in a while and they're leaky. The one I took out was leaky, so I'm just going to change the rest. That's borderline at 10% over. These look like these are plate resistors, I believe. Yes, they are. So just trace those to the valve. So half watt plate resistors, no. So they're coming out. So we're just going to work our way across this section of this board, and some of it's a bit tricky to get to, and this is probably why this component here is burnt. So they've fitted this component by the look of it, and then they've been trying to get down the back of there with a soldering iron and burnt it. Instead of taking the pot out, just take the pot out and get, so you can get the soldering iron in, so you're not having to keep going in at such an angle, because to be going in at that kind of angle, and that's how that's got burnt, probably like that. So, and obviously that's going to have to be changed. Now I was going to just do this board first and then plug it in and see how we were, but seeing as my parts haven't come for this, I'm going to make a start on that back board as well. So that's really where we are with this amp. As I say, on this board we found one fault, which was a 47k resistor open, which is where was that? Underneath this capacitor here. There's a 47k resistor that was open, so we found one problem on there. There's some wires we need to change here, because that one, if you look, that's been burnt with the soldering iron to severe attack of peasant fever there, and then that one's been burnt twice, so that's double peasant fever. Right, you can see we've made a bit more progress with this Vox AC30. Let's just see where we've got to so far. So we're waiting for some parts coming in that I've not got in stock. Some 4.7 nanofarads for these. We've got a 22 for that one there, but we're waiting for some resistors coming in we need to change, so I need to put that in last, otherwise it'll just get burnt with the iron. We've replaced all the burnt capacitors that was going from various parts on the board to the other board. You can see those there. And what else have we done? So we're just up to a point where I've just got this one here to wire up, and these two, I've got some 220k resistors to go from these pots which go down to that capacitor. Now we've got this item here, where they bodge these two capacitors here, that should be 500 picofarad, and that little collection of two there is about 800 picofarad. So we've got this chap. I didn't think I got these in stock actually, but then I found them and thought, result. So we've got those. So we just need that putting in there, and those two resistors soldering on, and that finishing off there, that cap on the end, which is a 47 nanofarad. And that board, back board there, or front board, depending on which way you're facing it, is actually finished. I've actually gone through all of that. Now back to that valve seat, that valve socket that had got all that arrowdite on, which is this one here. Let me just move those out because they're just going to affect focus. Now I scraped all that off, and I can't find anything wrong with that at a glance. Now I've not plugged it in since I've done that, but this, I've scraped it all off. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong. So when we fire it up, if that looks right, and I'm going to do a real close inspection just to make sure, I don't think we'll ever get to the bottom of what that was about. Now this switch is another issue. This switch is just massive. I don't know where that's gone. That can't be original. Well, no, it's not original, and I don't know what that's come out of or designed for, but look at this. And the problem with this is you can't tighten it up properly, because on the front it hasn't got proper nut on it. It's got no locking washer on it whatsoever, and I'm very tempted to swap that switch out, because the problem with its physical size in this unit, it's going to be so difficult to get that tight. You can't get a spanner in there on this side. The only other way to do it is to get a nut on the other side, as opposed to that. They've got like they have on a lot of amps, like a nailed, just a nailed nut, but you can't get a spanner on them or anything, so you never get them tight enough. So I may change that and put another switch in there, another new switch. But this amp is getting there now, and considering the state it was in, it's starting to look pretty good. I'm hoping when I fire this up, there's no the faults on the Vibratrem channel, and the faults on the there was a slight fault on the Brilliant channel. I'm hoping those have gone. The reason for that is this 22 nanofarad, and I'll show you this one. This Hunt's 22 nanofarad here is this 22 nanofarad is toast, and that is on the circuit of those stages of that tremolo. And then I found a 47k resistor on this board, which was that chap who's sitting under that capacitor there. He was open as well. So I found a couple of things blown on here, which hopefully should see this amp back up and running. Right, we've got these rest of these capacitors in. We changed that 560k there, that 750k there, so there and there have been changed, and we've got these 4.7ks in there, and the 22, which is there just to the right of that resistor, him there. I've run it up. The normal channel, which worked fine anyway, is fine. The Brilliant channel now seems to work properly. That's a bit weak. Now the Vibratrem channel still doesn't work, and so I've done a bit of investigating, and if we go carefully to this first stage here, so here's the input there coming in, the jack sockets. They're going into through here, and then they're going into that first valve there, and there's nothing on there at all. Bit of a plank moment, I'm afraid. Right, so I had to do a slight alteration to this board on here. So this screw that where's my pointer gone? Let's find a pointer. Right, now I've got a pointer. So this screw here in this board has got a nut on it to fasten it to the board, and then it's got another nut on the bolt which screws down and then gets so they can level this up, and then you've got another nut underneath that goes on the chassis, and that tightens that board up. That's how it works. So that second nut was wound right up, and this board was just flopping, and it still is because I haven't got a nut on it yet. So what I had to do was disconnect the cathode there on that first stage, which I did, and of course being on such a short wire as it is there, I forgot to connect it back up, and that's why that first stage wasn't working at all. And just as I was investigating in here, I spotted it, and because that's the cathode resistor there, and I thought, oh dear. So now we've connected that up, the Vibrotrem channel, it works. So that's definitely a plank moment. Right, excuse the noise, that's the rain on the roof. So got those capacitors in, there they are, honed those in, changed this wire here because it was badly burnt, changed that one because it was badly burnt, changed that one because it was burnt, and that one as well. So they're changed. Managed to tidy these up, make something of them, these ones here, so I've not had to change those. And I've managed to tighten this switch up, but I've had to put, and whoever's attempted to put this switch on at some time, and we'll have a look at that a bit later on the front because they're turning it around, but they have done a bit of damage on that front. They've had some instead of putting a socket on it, it looks like they've had the old pliers on it or something. So this tone control, you can see here works barely. Now I've had a guitar through this in here, not particularly loud, but I've had a guitar through it, and again I'm getting moderate out of this tone control at best. And I think one of the reasons for that is that this pot, we can zoom in, see how far we get in before it says no. This pot is 25k, which normally you'd have that for a mid pot. It's obviously not original if you compare it to the others. So according to Vox information, that should be 250k. Right, I've just had a look in my stash and I can't find a 250k pot at the minute, so I'm going to have to do some serious searching around on some of those chassis and things. I don't want to put a new pot in this, it'll stick out like a turd in a swimming pool. Having said that, I suppose it's got all these new components in, but I really don't want to have to put a new one in. I want to try and find one that actually looks the part. Right, I found this WEM Dominator board, WEM Dominator Mark III board, and I know for a fact these pots are 250k and they're CTS, and they will fit rather nicely when I've took them out of those brackets. They are PC board mount though, but I'm going to see what that looks like when if I don't like the look of it, I'm going to take it out, but that's going to be the closest thing without ordering a new one. And I've also got to wait for a new one, and that's more time this has just sat doing nothing on the bench. Right, I've got this Vox AC30 that we've finished now, so we're just going to have a bit of a listen, give it a blast. So we'll start off with the vibrato channel, or Vibrotrem channel, whichever you want to call it. we've just got 3 speeds. That just seems to be a very slight tremolo there. So that's just increasing the depth. So that faster. So we move on to the normal channel. This channel's much more bassier. Right, so we're in the normal channel now, so we'll have a listen to that. I've got the tone control working now. But I just need to fasten that on. It does work. It's full up the tone. This amp really has its bell-like, beautiful clean tone. Let's have a look at the brilliant channel. So there we have it, the Vox AC30 copper top that we've restored. It was in a bit of a state when it arrived, but we've rebuilt it and we've given it a good another good 20 to 25 years of service. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been an enjoyable one doing this first box I've ever done. Believe it or not, just never. And there's plenty of them about. I've just never had one put on my bench until now. So you all take care, and thanks for watching again, and please subscribe to the channel if you wish to do so, and I'll see you all in a future video. Bye bye for now.